Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, Old Guy Inc. Please do me a favor and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about fat. Burning fat and misconceptions that a lot of people have and that really have been taught to people over time. And I'll kind of explain how we got there. So if you're all dialed in on fat, that's awesome. But if you're not, let me just give you a few things that are definitely going to help, okay? So, what we're going to talk about today are a couple terms hopefully that you know about. So we're going to talk about high intensity interval training. Hopefully you know all about that. And we're going to talk about low intensity steady state, okay? So first of all, let's talk about those. So high intensity interval training, and in particular, high intensity interval resistance training programs are programs that are high intensity, short duration with bouts of rest in between. So they normally don't last a long time, but they require a very high energy output. They end up increasing your heart rate significantly, and they require a lot of work in a short amount of time. That's high intensity interval training. So instead of just doing the same thing for a long period of time, you do a variety of different high intensity activities with built-in rest, more bouts of high intensity activity, more rest, and you do that for a certain amount of time. That's high intensity interval training. Now, low intensity steady state is exactly the opposite. Now, this is your comfort zone. This is your treadmill. This is your nice, easy ride on the bike. This is going out for a run. This is anything that you do in which you continue the same exercise at approximately the same intensity, which is moderate, for a long period of time. And so it's a steady state of aerobic work, okay? So this right here and this are all related to heart rate, okay? So let's see how many people remember the old school. They always look different, but this is the way I'm going to write it. You used to go to the gym and you would see like these heart rate graphs. I mean, God, I hope they still don't have them, but what they would do is they would be based on percentages of heart rate. So let's say in the middle, this zone would be like 60 to 70% of your max heart rate, okay? That's low intensity steady state. So this would be filled in, and this would be labeled your fat burning zone, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. Because in some ways, it's accurate. It's all about how you interpret the information in the science. So here we go. I will tell you that when you are exercising at a low intensity steady state, and you're maintaining a heart rate of approximately 60 to 70% of your max heart rate, studies have shown that you will burn about 50% of your calories from fat. Okay? Sounds pretty good. Now, let's talk about high intensity interval training. Okay? This is going to be 70 plus of your max heart rate. Okay? This is way up here. So the 70 is way low. When I say 70 plus, we are way up in the 80, 90% range. You are really jacking up your heart rate during some very high intensity interval training. Now, here we go. During a high intensity 70 plus max heart rate workout, only approximately 30% of the calories you burn come from fat. Okay. So now you're thinking, oh yeah, so it makes perfect sense, right? This is why this is the fat burning zone, because you burn more fat. 50% of every calorie burn comes from fat. And if you're doing high intensity training, only 30% of each calorie that you burn comes from fat. So if you want to burn fat, you should be doing low intensity steady state exercise at 60 to 70% of your heart rate, right? Wrong. Hopefully you knew that's where this was going. It's in some ways simple, and in some ways it's more complicated than that, because what you have to look at is how many calories are being burned. So 50% of $1 is only 50 cents. But 30% of $2 is 60 cents. So it's all dependent upon how many calories you burn to how much fat you're actually burning. So more percentage of less is not as good as less percentage of way more. So let's explain that. During high intensity interval training, you are doing significantly more work. That's what equals intensity. The intensity at which you're working out in means that you're doing more work if it's a high intensity. So doing more work burns more calories. It also burns more calories in a much shorter duration. So by burning more calories during your workout, even though it's only at 30%, you're going to burn more fat. However, there is even more to it than that. So hopefully you understand that when you're in your comfort zone and you're just cruising on the treadmill, you're doing whatever it is you do, your stair stepper, right? None of these things are bad at all, as long as you understand how it relates to fat burning. I'm not saying that there's not other benefits to low intensity, steady state exercise. I'm not saying that everybody shouldn't incorporate that into their training. I'm talking specifically about making sure you understand fat burning if that's something that you're interested in. So if you do an hour of low intensity steady state, you're going to burn X amount of calories. Now, I can't tell you what that number is because I don't know what you're doing. What I can tell you is if you're doing high intensity interval training about a third of the time, in 15 to 20 minutes, you can easily burn 2 to 3 times as many calories as you can in a 60-minute low intensity steady state exercise. So what does that mean? It means even at 30% of each calorie, because you're burning so many more calories, you are winning. You're burning way more fat. Now, let's take it to the next level. Have you ever heard of afterburn? So, science has proven that after exercise, your body continues to be in a higher metabolic state, and you burn more calories after exercise, calling it afterburn. Okay. However, here's a key to remember. Okay, this is very important. High intensity interval training has an afterburn of up to 14 hours. You will continue to have an elevated metabolism, burning more calories throughout your day. Low intensity steady state is only up to 60 minutes. 1 hour. So not only are you burning less calories during your low intensity steady state, then you're only burning calories during your afterburn for up to another 60 minutes. Okay? Hopefully I'm beating a dead horse here. I'm trying to beat this dead horse, okay? So you're burning more calories during your shorter duration, high intensity interval training exercise. You're burning more calories with a higher afterburn, a higher metabolism for up to 14 hours after this. What does that equal? It equals you're burning way more calories with high intensity interval training. So even at only 30% per calorie, you're winning. You're burning way more fat than exercising in the quote unquote fat burning zone. So this is a myth. It's based on facts, but never been explained to most people correctly, okay? Now, I could keep going. There's way more to it than that because low intensity steady state does not involve resistance training. So you're not building muscle. That's a whole nother topic. High intensity interval resistance training involves resistance training, which means you are putting stress on your muscles. You're putting weight on your muscles. You are asking your muscles to adapt, to grow, get bigger. Muscle requires calories to function and survive. Okay? So the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn even at rest. So if you put this all together, high intensity interval resistance training gives you more muscle, which means you burn more calories even when you're not exercising. Then you burn more calories while you're doing the high intensity interval training. Then you burn more calories after the high intensity interval training. So you can have your 50% of nothing. I'm going to take 30% of a lot. Okay? So there you have it. Hopefully I explained that like 5 times. Hopefully I repeated myself enough that it made sense. If it didn't, guys, gals, please hit me up, ask questions. This is a super important part of exercise and understanding. There's a large percentage of people that want to look better, feel better, be healthier, and body composition is a large part of that. So if you're interested in burning fat and you don't fully understand how this works and I didn't explain it right, I apologize. Please hit me up, ask me a question. We can talk privately. I'd be glad to try to explain it better. But there it is. High intensity interval resistance training is where it's at. Okay? Thanks, guys. Old Guy Inc. I appreciate you stopping by and listening. Please hit subscribe.